This morning, thank you so much for those of you who got here early. We're looking forward to having people from 10:45. We're looking forward to having music of vibration, meditational music, nice music here to sort of condition the room and prepare it for the message and for your presence. And so when we did this before, people would come in a little early. It was interesting. It was almost like a magnet pulling people in. So we're going to do that so that you can come and just be in the space. And we may have some 963 hertz vibration to heal you and uplift you, and some piano, whatever it is, but it'll be music that speaks to your spirit and speaks to your heart. Well, we are again at the first Sunday of the 5th month. This year is going faster than, I've been around for 82 of them, and this is the fastest one yet. I mean, it's scary. You look up, and you're already, what is it, a third of the year is gone? And so that says something very powerful. That says that, man, we have got to get busy, not doing frivolous things, but busy in tune with our purpose and our creation. You know, the fact that good Lord has given us, where's Ross? Okay, we're going to mark him. So we took attendance. Whenever I see elders, like, you know how if you see one without the others, like, what's going on? Where is he? Okay. But this says to us that there's so much going on in the world that we have to be attuned and in tune so that we're always all right. You know, the world has been the world for billions of years. Everything that's happening now has happened before. And somehow we're still here. So it's good to know that in the end we win. But getting to that point, we have to really lift ourselves up and take us to the next level. So let us start with an affirmation. And today is a day to feel special. So I'll say, how do you feel? And you say special. How do you feel? Special. Yeah. Now let's see what's happening here. I'm becoming undressed. Let's see, I'll just put it in my pocket. Maybe that'll, yeah. If you're going to get undressed, I guess this is the best place. Don't throw dollars. Who would have thought? Okay. So let's go back. How do you feel today? Special. And why do you feel special? I'll give you the answer. Because I have God-given powers. Why do you feel special? Because I have God-given powers. Let's say that powers with force, because you have powers that you haven't even used yet. So let's say one more time. I have God-given powers. Give yourselves a hand now. Yeah. You know, this hall is big enough, I can hear the echo. I always like to open also with our affirmation, and I'll say it and you repeat after me, but this is a power affirmation that you can start your day with. Listen to the broadcast and write it down, and it goes like this. I'll say it and you repeat it after me as we go through it. Today is the most magnificent day of my life. Health, wealth, happiness, love, success, prosperity, abundance, come to me in every way. Now you do that every day. And I guarantee you will create a vibration that something's coming. And it's going to be good stuff. When I lived in New York, I'd hit a rough spot in my life. Has anybody ever hit a rough spot? Well, you're not broke, but you're between funds. Well, it was between funds, and I'd get up in the morning and I'd start affirming, today is the most magnificent day of my life. Health, wealth, happiness, love. My neighbors called the landlord and said, sir, that guy down there, I think he's having a problem. He's in there hollering about money and success and whatnot, but guess what? I hollered my way out of there. And you can do the same. If you want to get out of someplace, holler your way out by affirming what you want. So our topic today is really developing your superpowers. And I want to put it in the personal, developing my superpowers. Let's say that together. Developing my superpowers. And see, our superpowers are really higher powers. Developing my higher powers. Let's say that together. Developing my higher powers. You see, we already have everything we need to get everything we want. I mean, really, we are created complete. Otherwise, God didn't finish the job. And God does not say, oh, I forgot to put, Megan is a great singer. Maybe we should have made her taller. Then she could sing and play basketball. God makes no mistakes. And so these higher powers are there to help guide us. You know, today we live in some interesting times. Interesting is an all-purpose word. It's the way not to be negative. So when you hit the lottery, you go, wow, that's interesting. But when you lose your car, you can go, wow, that's interesting. Same word, that way only you know the context. But we live in some very interesting times. They're like blurred lines between truth and fiction. There are times where the world seems negative, divisive, and definitely without enough love. But there's also another way to look at that and say, you know, these are times with unlimited possibilities. Unlimited possibilities for change, for growth, for becoming something beautiful. So in this state, I call it a state of flux, there's a lot of information going on, but we need to be able to navigate this stuff. How do we get through it so that we are always in a point where we're good? You know, when stuff happens around the world, you always say, we're good. When I was a kid, they used to do the atomic bomb exercises. You remember those when you got down under the seat? And I guess I don't know what the point, you're down under the seat, but it's down to say, what was that? I'm good. So we're good. But how do we get to that point? Kenny Loggins, and great musician, great spiritual person, he said this: my trust in a higher power that wants me to survive and have love in my life is what keeps me moving forward. My trust in a higher power that wants me to survive and have love in my life keeps me moving on. And so these higher powers exist there to help us navigate. The first key is to be aware that they're there. Harriet Tubman said, I could have saved a lot more slaves if people knew they were slaves. So to be aware of the existence of these powers first, because then you can connect with them. Brian McGill, an actor, said this: today I call upon my higher power to deliver me from the impossible to the possible, from darkness to light, from fear to courage. And I wanted to give those quotes because this higher power that each of us has, this higher power gives us a way to navigate life in such a way that we have a power tool. When others are wondering what's going on, we have a way to look at stuff and figure it out. I love the analogy that we are born onto the river of time. That the moment we are born, the moment we have conscious awareness, we are on the river of time. So we're like a boat on the river of time. And that boat always represents us. The rudder represents our value system, what's right and what's wrong. The engine represents our level of desire. The sails represent our attitude. And the crew represents the people we permit, operative word, permit to come into our lives. So how do we navigate this river of time? We need certain tools. The moment we steer our ship in a certain direction, and you steer your boat by the decisions you make. So the moment you make a decision, your boat goes this way. You make another, your boat goes that way. And so the goal is really to determine the best decisions to help you navigate through all the stuff going on in the best way possible. So when we think about this higher power, I was trying to get an analogy. And I remember when I bought my first car as a young man, you could open the hood, you get a wrench, a pair of pliers, and a screwdriver, and you could do a little something. You know, you could adjust the carburetor, you could do stuff. But now, you ever open your hood, you don't even know what it is anymore. Like, where's the carburetor? There's no carburetor. All you just see is this thing. And so now you have to take the car to the dealer now to plug it in. And the dealers don't know. You remember the time when there were mechanics who could just hear your car and tell you what was wrong? You had to come up and listen to it and say, yep, you need a tune-up. That'll be $100. Say, you haven't even opened the hood. That's another $50. But there were guys who could literally listen in your car and touch and see how it vibrates and whatnot, and almost tell you what's wrong. But that day is gone. But this analogy works when you take your car in to plug it into the whatever that machine is. That's like you plugging into your superpowers. So let's look at this a little further. The universe has a level of consciousness. Everything has a consciousness. You have consciousness. I have a consciousness. The birds outside have a consciousness. Everything that has a consciousness is in the nature of its being. So birds do what birds do. Man is the only element of creation that has choice. Think about that. But when you read the scriptures say what? Man is created in the image of God, with the likeness and nature of God. And the third basic tenet of unity is that we co-create our life along with God. So this is a great power that we have. And so how do we begin to use this? Number one, to recognize that there are 5 basic powers that separate us from every other order of creation. How does a squirrel know to gather nuts for a winter never experienced? Because their instinct, they are complete in the nature of their creation. They were created complete. Man has this other stuff going on. But man has been given 5 great powers that can help man navigate through the times that we're in right now to always end up where we need to be. Number one, the first basic power is the power to think. In the book Siddhartha, how many of you read Siddhartha? Wasn't that a good, that was like one of the books, man. Thank God, you know, Hesse was smart. He didn't make it long. You know, if it's too long, I say, I don't care what they're saying. I ain't reading 300 pages, okay? But one of the things Siddhartha said, he had 3 great skills. He said, I can think, meaning that mental faculty. He said, I can fast, meaning he has control over his physical being. And I can wait, meaning he understood the cycles and had persistence. And so this first power, this power of thought, the scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let's make it general. As a person, you can tell the Bible was written by men. As a person thinketh in their heart. So there's a thought, so are they. So you have the power to think. You can think anything you want. Buddha said, you become what you think about most of the time. So as you navigate through this, think different thoughts. The second power is the power to feel. And these two powers go together now. When you think a thought and you feel that thought in your being, that brings about manifestation. And so everything we experience in life is a result of our thoughts and how we feel about the thought. That's powerful, folks. You create your world based on your thoughts and your feelings about those thoughts. I was watching a TV program, and there was a couple that had gone to a therapist and to what they call it, an intimacy council. I never heard of anything like that. An intimacy council. And they were a married couple, and they did not know how to feel. They didn't have that ability to be open with one another. And so they had learned that they had never developed the skill of feeling. Sometimes that can be a big challenge and we don't recognize it. Sometimes when you can have a hurt way in the past, you can build a scab around it so that you isolate it, to bury it, but it also cuts you off from the outside world. So this idea of feeling is powerful because when you use your feelings affirmatively, you can use it now to say, my level of desire is so strong that I will not be denied. I win. But if you use it improperly, it can bury you. So this power of feeling is an awesome power. Thought and feeling create manifestation. The third power is your power to imagine. The scripture says, where there's no vision, the people perish. But where there is a vision, happy are they. And so your power to imagine gives you the ability to see stuff that you've never experienced. To imagine things that never were. That's powerful. None of these other creatures have that ability. Alligators haven't built anything. Not a development, not a car, not a house. We are the only one that have this ability now to do things. So our imagination is a way to free us from our condition. When the prodigal son was in the pits of life, he imagined it in his father's house. Even the servants had food enough for more. So the power to imagine. The fourth power that we have is the power to choose. Choose this day whom you will serve. You can either serve positivity, the law of, oh man, every time you see something, even when it looks like a bad thing to somebody, you can say, that's very interesting. I just got evicted from my house, I was foreclosed. But then I say, oh my goodness, I don't have to worry about water bills, light bills, people to come fix stuff. I'm free. I have a friend that when he lost his house, he was like, oh baby, we don't have to worry about nothing. We're good. They got in the Pinto and drove away into the sunset. So these 5 basic powers are the powers that we have: the power to think, the power to feel, so powerful. The power to imagine, the power to choose, and then the 5th power, the power to act. And that's where the rubber hits the road. You got to act. You got to take action to get things done. So how many times have you been in a situation where you knew you could change it, but you just put it off? Anybody like that? Yeah. But the moment you take action, the moment you take a decision and act on it, everything changes. So now these are the 5 basic powers. There are 3 other powers now. There are a number of higher powers. There are really like 7 recognized. But I want to hit these 3 that are key to us. So the 5 basic powers are like your ability to go and fix your car with a wrench and a screwdriver. The higher powers are that level, that Einstein level. Einstein said you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. So what are some of the higher powers? Your first higher power is the power of intuition. I guarantee you everything that's ever happened to you that was not pleasant, before you had it happen, there was a voice that said, don't do it. Any person that's ever done you wrong or treated you badly, there's some point where that voice said, no, run. And so our power of intuition gives us a way to speak directly to the God mind. Our intuition is like a direct line to the source. Our challenge is we ignore it. We'll get an intuition about somebody and we're like, I know they're not everything, but maybe I can change them. How's that working for you? Sometimes people say, I just don't want to be alone. Mm-hmm. But that intuition tells you the truth. We just have to learn to trust it and how to develop it. The second higher power is the power of discernment. Once you have a feeling about something, discernment says, how do you now interpret it for yourself? So, example, you meet a person who lies to you. As a lawyer, when a person lies on the stand, we instruct the judge to tell the jury to disregard everything they've said. And so now, in this situation where that's the power of discernment says, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So if it's a lying apple, chances are it came from a lying tree. And so the power of discernment now gives you the ability to start applying those rational principles that are not dictated by ego, that are not dictated by fear, to judge situations. Which leads me to your third higher power, which is the power of what we call right judgment, which is really the power of decision. Right judgment in Scripture says, judge not that you be not judged, but judge righteous judgment. And what it's really saying, judgment is a choice. Judgment always has consequences. So every choice that you make is a seed that you plant in the universal consciousness. But if you use your higher powers, your intuition to help you see what it really is, your discernment to give you the ability to understand it, then now when you make a decision, it's a good one. Because it's based on alignment with the spiritual principle of who you are. That intuition is so powerful because that's God speaking directly to you. Every bad decision I've ever made, when I look back, it was like, man, I should have listened. I should have paid attention, David. I should have seen that coming. So now let's wrap up. God has given us 5 powers, basic powers. The power to think, knowing that our thoughts manifest in our lives. The power to feel, knowing that feelings and thoughts work together to create the vibration of manifestation. The power of imagination, to be able to see in our mind's eye something that never was. The power to choose. In other words, right decisions take us into the right places we want to go. And then finally, the power to act. If you don't act on your decisions, they are what? That in itself is a decision. If you're on the river of time and you choose not to steer the boat, Alan, you don't move the rudder. You take down the sails. Say, let it rip. And nothing happens. Well, the river of time will take you somewhere, and it's probably not where you want to go. Practice and master these basic powers so that you can use them with these higher powers, so that you can use them with the power of intuition, so you can trust your feelings. When the voice speaks, listen. the power of discernment, so that you have the confidence now that you can see the truth in all situations. Don't worry about what everybody else is saying. You know the truth. And that power of right judgment now to say, this is my decision. I make it. I stick to it. I know it has consequences. I can live with it because I know I'm right. So when you can do those things, nothing is impossible. You can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire. Let us stand and close out. I hope this message is one you like today and take it and work with it. Somebody once said, I stepped on some toes. I stepped on my own toes today. So let us close out. We have an affirmation. I'll say it and you repeat after me. I trust my intuition. Knowing that God is speaking through me. I use my power of discernment to understand the truth of all situations. I use my power of right judgment to make good decisions at all times. And finally, I act on my choices, knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you.